Hello everyone, my name is Ekaterina. We are here today with Paul Brie, CEO and co-founder at Teleport HQ. Hello Paul.
Hi.
Thank you for accepting our invitation for this interview.
Thank you for inviting me for this interview.
Paul, when researching on your profile, I found this wonderful quote. I believe that the ultimate goal of technology is to amplify the essence of humanity. I resonated with it. And my question is, how can technology help those who are the most in need, the poor, the underserved, and the invisible?
It's a very good question. I would qualify myself as a humanist. I have a bit of interesting career path, as I was initially a violinist, and then I became a computer guy. And I really have always seen technology as the most wonderful and unlimited space for creation. In that sense, we have reached today a level of technology which is much bigger and gives much more opportunities than we can imagine ourselves. This means basically that our imagination is the limit of what we can do with technology today. In that sense, I think we have just passed, or we are passing, this moment in human history in which humans will not need to be digitalized anymore. I mean by that it will be not required for my daughter, for example, to be better at Google Docs or Excel or whatever software, because by the time she'll be in the field of work, if there will still be one, technology would be so advanced that the system or the agent or the robot will interact with her in a very human way. So I think technology is going to be humanized from now on. This means that more than ever, everything that will be happening in the years to come will be essentially done around the constructions of systems that are designed to help humans at a very, very high level. Therefore, I truly believe that probably in the next 20 years that I'll see in my life, technology will solve probably everything, and hopefully nobody will destroy the planet until then.
Let's hope for that. Let's move to developed countries. How is technology helping today already improve the functioning of the many different components of an advanced society?
Very good questions. I've done a lot of R&D and innovation. Innovation is obviously a big word that is overused, but I always like to remind people that innovation means new and useful. If you look at any process or any activity that can be repeated, the natural tendency of humans is to make it better and less painful, or it should consume less resources. I'm also very attached to a notion that I have learned quite recently, which is the notion of Society 5.0, which says basically that there is no human challenge that will be solved if the government, the private sector, the communities, the research and education, and the planet or the sustainability part of it are not working together. So for advanced society, I think the biggest challenge right now is to optimize whatever process in order to include these 5 components at a time. So sustainability is one of the most important at this moment, but many societies or many group of companies are working together at this moment to really reinvent processes that will be almost resource-free. So I think that's one of the biggest goals of the development countries. And I also start to feel that social innovation and the circular economy start to become a concern for everybody. And we might, I hope, arrive in what I call a post-capitalist society, in which capital will not be concentrated in one single place, but will be distributed to all. And for that purpose, I think blockchain is an unbelievable step towards this vision.
It's great that you mentioned blockchain. I have learned that you are actually working on developing a platform which will host an education fund. Can you please tell us more about it?
Yes, it's my pleasure. It's a beautiful project which is born from an open innovation camp that took place in Cluj 2 weeks ago, and the project was generated by a challenge that the mayor's office gave to this group of people that participated to the camp, and the challenge was to define the future of education. And the first thing that we said as a group of experts, of passionate people, I would say, was that we don't know what the future of education is. Nobody can predict what it should be for the next 10 or 20 years. The only thing that we know for sure is that, as I said, technology will accelerate in a very, very spectacular way. And it is very likely that humans need essentially to be as human as possible in the future. And that means especially work around human values and probably develop things like arts, sports, mathematics or science and philosophy. Because everything else will be done by the machines. So starting from this premise, we said we have to find a way to empower teachers to build in real time the education of the future, because there's no way that we or people like I who are in their 40s can decide what the future of education is for kids who are now 5 to, let's say, 18 years. The most appropriate agents for that task would be young teachers that are living in their time and who will adapt to what they think society and their kids need. In order to do so, we had to find a solution to protect those change agents, right? A school is quite a rigid system. It has to follow certain rules. It's part of the design of what a school was built for. And we thought that we should be able to create a mechanism which will essentially reward teachers that want to make changes, both in with recognition, like they should get some attention from the society, and both in a financial manner. I think it is quite important, especially in a country like Romania, where teachers are not the best paid workers, let's say, though they are probably the most important persons in our society. So we started from this idea, and then we said that the platform should basically allow the stakeholders, in our case would be essentially the parents, but the community in general, to create a fund, and this fund should somehow, at least in a transparent way and as automated way as possible, should fuel and give the power to those teachers to make those changes. So we imagined a flux of tokens, which are both monetary. In that case, the parents and the community puts money into the fund, but also of recognition tokens, where you have badges in a spirit of gamification. And we just tried to look at who could act in this ecosystem, and definitely the local government is an important piece, and will distribute recognition tokens, will take the teachers out of schools and expose them in public spaces, would be museums or any public space that the local government has. The community will then be able to see the teachers more. The teachers would be incentivized to be more creative and adapting their lessons and do more fun experiments or more, I would say, actual experiments to kids. This should happen outside of school, so there is no pressure for the system. Because the human value that is produced is reinjected then into the society, basically the companies would have a tremendous interest in invest as well. So it was, we arrived in a mechanism where all the stakeholders, which is the local government, the community, the companies, the education sector, have an interest to work together in order to produce a higher human value. So in this case, we only have 4 elements from the 5th I mentioned, right? I didn't say sustainability, but it is implied that what we will do will be sustainable.
You mentioned the local government as a very important stakeholder. Why do you think would this platform be successful inclusion not elsewhere in Romania? Why is the local government so important, and its implication is very important in achieving or having a successful project like yours?
As I said, I truly believe that there is no future for projects which do not include the 5 elements. If it is enough that one of the stakeholders of the society is not working with the others, so that the project will have difficulties to advance. I don't think the project will be limited to Cluj. I really and truly believe that once it will be launched in 9 months from now, it will scale instantly, why not worldwide. The beauty of it is that it is somehow designed to be self-sustained. And the transparency which is brought to this project by the blockchain, the fact that you as a parent will be able to see exactly where your 10 euros or 10 lei, doesn't matter, the way they have been spent, is going to give you confidence that there is 100% efficiency between your intent and your effort and the results you have. And that means in the end, it doesn't really matter if it is a fund that will have hundreds of millions or if it will have 10,000 euros or whatever, or lei. The mechanism will be constantly growing. And I think it will be as useful for developed countries or for undeveloped countries in the same way.
I see. So as we have understood, the platform is blockchain based.
Yes.
My question is, why all the hype with blockchain?
Blockchain is an absolutely beautiful technology, and I really mean it. And I would like to insist once again that I really dislike the crypto part of it, especially the wild crypto part of it. In that sense that it has provided opportunity for like savage trading and speculation, which I think is not at all what blockchain has been built for. I often say that blockchain comes essentially with 2 notions which are almost values. One is transparency or data integrity, and the other one is distribution. So if you think about it, in a world where we're going to be soon 10 billions, a world in which for now we've been used to be separated between a lot of poor people and a couple of rich guys, having a technology that is offering a capability to reverse this order, which is definitely not a good one, is a tremendous opportunity. So blockchain as a technology has set the base for a new discussion to the society. I think I quite recently understood that blockchain is a way to have a shared economy at scale, which means if you can add 1 euro, 1,000 euros, or a million or a billion euros in the blockchain, it doesn't matter. There is no restriction for you to be part of that economy. Right now, if you want to put money into a company, the process is quite complex. So this is like an easy access to ownership in a piece of the economy. So that's one of the promises that blockchain is bringing on the table, and it's extremely real. The second thing, it is obviously the decentralized part, which allows you to have the guarantee that you are not stolen, or there is no hidden mechanism that you're not aware of. That doesn't mean everybody will like scan all the blockchains to check all the data, but it means you as a journalist and you want to do an investigation, it's going to be very easy to do so, right? So that's quite important. And blockchain comes with like an embedded feature, which is an open data feature, which before was extremely hard to expose technically, but now it's embedded in the system. So I would definitely say that blockchain is not yet completely mature, and we're just discovering its power. A lot of people start to really believe in it, so we are in the adoption phase. But very soon, I can't say how many years exactly, but let's say 3 to 5 years, it's going to be really mainstream, and it will be very, very strange for a government or for a project or for the finance world to work with other technologies. So this is the reason I think blockchain is beautiful. It's a base for a new society construction.
Can we talk at this stage about the risks that applying this technology in different sectors, in different fields would also bring? Or is it too early to talk about the risks?
It is never too early to talk about risks. As every technology, there are risks, always. So I don't think you or one should compare the risks of blockchain versus the risk of another technology. You have just to know about them and to work in the effort of mitigating them. Blockchain comes with something which is quite exposed, which is all the data. One of the challenges is to encrypt the data into the blockchain. Let's take an example. If you would move a health system into the blockchain, you as a patient have your medical folder which is stored into the blockchain, but not everybody should have access to it. You just want a couple of doctors and a certain hospital to have access to it. So that means the encryption mechanism should be strong enough to protect you against your data to be stolen or to be exposed, while giving specific access to persons or institutions that you want to give access to. So when you create a lock that just attracts people that are really curious and like challenge and want to unlock the things. So this is one of the main, and more exposed risk from the blockchain. A lot of people are working on that, and somehow I think it's a mitigated risk. There's no safe system. We know that in the IT world. The other risk is obviously the scalability. Right now, the first and second generation of blockchain have been quite limited by the power required to make the encryption. So the computation has an electricity cost, and therefore there's a cost to maintain the blockchain. So one of the challenges is how you can reduce the cost of the blockchain maintenance on one side. And the second one, in terms of scalability, is the number of transactions you can do per second. This is a quite important issue, especially when you think about blockchains that will do microtransactions, which mean a lot of really, really small ones. Then there is also the interoperability, which is very important. It's not that easy to understand, but if you are locked into a blockchain, then somehow this is a huge danger if you cannot move your data or if you can't communicate with another blockchain. So I just came with some risks that are quite visible and exposed in the blockchain, but who are existing as well for every other technology as well. So we just need to be aware, not to be scared.
Aside the risks, how about challenges? What do you think would be the greatest challenge? Maybe corruption. That's why, at least thinking when talking about developing countries, I see corruption and the desire to not have things transparent as one of the biggest challenges that would stay in front of blockchain. What do you think about it?
I personally think, and this is a very strong opinion, that blockchain will destroy corruption in a natural way. blockchain is going to infect every institution, private or public, from the bottom. So once you and I and our children will see that it is possible to have a system which is easy to maintain and which offers 100% transparency, they will not understand that it is not used everywhere. So I think, and I'm an optimistic person, that blockchain will like wipe out corruption. It's going to be extremely hard to be corrupted, at least in the sense that we understand today, which is quite corruption for dummies. Like it's really done in front of your eyes, right? And you accept it because you don't have the power to do something. Corruption will always exist. It's part of, like, I would say, the human fabric, but it will be limited, and it's going to be a very smart corruption, which is going to be systemic, and then maybe later on there will be mechanisms to work against that too. But fundamentally, I really see that once technology is able to provide transparency for a low cost, which is exactly what blockchain does, there is an opportunity for a new society organization.
Paul, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for this interview.
And we hope to be back and to learn more about your project at the platform when it will be already developed and already working.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us.
Thank you.